Hello everyone, happy Thursday. Welcome to our weekly live Q&A with Rasha Ilhami. And I'm super excited to be with you today on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And say hi Rasha if you are watching with me live, and hashtag replay if you're catching on replay. Today, we are going to talk about a topic. I get asked a lot about it. I talked a lot about it before. And actually, I got asked from people who are like living in different countries, immigrants, or living in like myself, like I live in Canada and I was born in Egypt and I have my family here. So they were asking about, okay, like how about bringing up our kids and the struggles and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I would love to say hello there on Instagram. Thank you for joining us. And today I want to just like break it down for you easily. Like I don't want you to feel stressed. Most parents who leave their country and travel to a different one and are raising kids are really under a lot of pressure because they want to meet the expectation of their parents back home. They want to meet the expectation. They want them to be brought up the way they were brought. They are afraid from other people and the outside influence. A lot of fears governing the process of raising up your kid, and this is not actually healthy for them. Okay, so I will just break it down easily. I said I'm going to answer like a couple of questions for you. What is the fast track to lose your connection with your kids, and why people who live abroad like feel in a different country, I mean by abroad, feel stressed raising their kids. Okay, let's break it down. So as for the first question, the fast track to lose connection with your kids is if you are doing one of these three behaviors: criticize, compare, sarcasm. Criticism, are you criticizing them? Meaning like you say, oh, like you put on a lot of weight, oh, look at your, like, and comparing them to others, look at your cousin, oh, look at this girl, how she is. Like, are you doing this? Criticize, compare. Sarcasm is like when you belittle their efforts or when you make fun of everything and you say like, oh, I was just laughing. Well, from age zero, actually from the moment you have conceived them, if your mother is watching me, from the moment of conception until 7 or 8 years old, they absorb like a sponge anything in their environment. Even if they were still in your uterus, they were not like, you did not pop them out yet. So they were absorbing everything you say and anything in the environment, like whether it was TV, songs, adults in their figure, like conversations you have, like they absorb it like a sponge, honestly, and become like their blueprint for their future. So I see when people tell me like, Rasha, talk to them, tell them, like people hate lectured, being lectured. Nobody loves to be lectured. Do you love like people tell you do this, do this, do this all the time? And beware, your kids do not listen to your words, they listen to your actions. That's a big one. And by that I mean, if you want a certain behavior you would love to see in your kids, model it, you do it. If you are telling them get off your iPad and PlayStation, you stop being on your iPad and your media all the time. If you want them to read, you read, because you are actually playing a very important role, you and all the adult figure in their life. Adult figure, I mean teacher, coaches, religious people, whatever it is, you are putting the blueprint from which they will grow. It will multiply and grow. So number one, if you are doing one of these behavior, criticize, compare, and sarcasm, this is a fast track to minimize and actually diminish their self-esteem. They lack confidence. And you lose connection with them by the time they are 14 years old, because this is when they start to have their personality traits being like formed, and they start to be like, they want to separate energetically and they don't want to talk to you any longer, because if they tell you anything, you will criticize. Most parents do that unconsciously because it's in their programming. You yourself were criticized as a kid a lot, and you were like shouted at as a kid, like whatever. So your parents now are not in your life, but their voice and the adult figures who were criticizing you and making fun of you and not paying attention to you, and you had to do something in order to be accepted, they are not there physically, but their voice lives here in your mind. Okay, I hope this resonates. I think this, if this resonates with you, that's a big aha, because it's you. You are harsher on you than any criticism you have ever had in your life. You are harsher now. You are really, really harsh on yourself. And when I work with my clients and with women, I work with like empowered women. And when we dig deep, like it's actually all goes back to their limiting belief that they are not enough, they cannot, they do not, they will not be able to do that. That's not possible for them. So all these limiting beliefs are not even yours. And that's the big thing, because you are living your life run by programs from other people, which is intergenerational. It can go back even to 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, and nobody ever questioned them. And if you want to break the cycle, when you start to like change and you break the cycle, then your parents will think like she's getting crazy or he's getting crazy. They are losing their mind because you are not following their pattern any longer. So I hope this makes sense. This was the part one of answering what is the fast track to lose connection with your loved ones. And I said like criticism, sarcasm, and comparison. That's huge. And have you yourself ever compared yourself to anyone and you become even? This is a huge mistake to do. You never compare yourself to others. You compare yourself to yourself. Like, for example, I monitor my progress last year and what I would love to achieve this year, and I see how much I grew this year, and I compare my version this year to my version last year, and this is like success. This is growth. This is the healthy comparison. But if I'm comparing myself to others, well, this is the managing self-esteem. This is killing your self-esteem. This is the worst thing you can do to yourself. All right. So you compare you to you, not you to others. Okay. That's a healthy comparison. So let's go now to parents who live abroad. As I said, like I live in Canada. And my kids have been here for almost like over 13 years, almost 14 years, like almost the majority of their life they lived it here. My son came here, he was only 3 years old. And my daughter was in grade 3. So now she graduated this year and he's in grade 11. So when these kids, like they are here, they are in this environment, and they see how people around them are interacting, and what they get like a lot of support, and they see like different people, different color, different religion, different sex, whatever. So they mix with everyone. These kids, you cannot compare them to their cousins, for example, back home. You cannot compare them with their friends that they used to be their friends when they were like little babies. Well, you brought your kids to a different country and it's a different culture. And when people love, like the one thing that can kill anybody is not to feel rejected. People do not want to feel rejected. They want to feel accepted. So you want to feel accepted when you travel somewhere else. And if you come with all the judgment against the people in this different country and you tell them, they and us, we and them, and you teach them separation, then you are excluding yourself as well from being accepted by others. And I have seen parents who are just like locking their kids like in their own environment. They do not want them to mix with anyone. They tell them like, well, they are the bad guys, we are the good guys, and this does not create a healthy human being, because they have to be exposed to everything. Like if you are afraid about them, like you when you plant a good seed in them, you shouldn't be worried. Like if I know like I did a good job or like whatever, they can be with people who like, my kids do not drink, my kids do not smoke, my kids do not do drugs, thank God, right? And they can be in an environment where they are exposed to such stuff. It's not that I'm blocking it from them, but they choose not to. And this is when you give them, like they know what is right. They know you planted a good seed for them. So it's not like the environment is going to affect them. No. Like you can put them anywhere because they're going to like, okay, if you're going to lock them while they are kids, how about when they go to university? How about when they go to work? How about when they go to the outside, like mix with others? They will feel like aliens, right? They wouldn't know how to mix with others. So you plant the seeds. And a big one, guys, for people who are stressed living abroad, like because what will they say, or what they will think of you, whatever anybody think of you is honestly none of your business. Because if you know by statistics, and this is like results, real results, 98% of the population worldwide, not restricted to a certain country or a certain like sect or certain people, whatever it is, 98% are not thinking. 98% do not think, guys, because 2% of the population only think, and these are the top achievers, the people who live life on their terms. They are not living on autopilot like everybody else is doing what, and let's follow that. Well, this is what they are doing. Like, let's do that. Or like, you have to get a job because this is what other people do. They are not thinking. 98%. Okay, so 2% only think, which say like, and these are the ones who have the big impact in the world. And these are the people who were called crazy, by the way. Okay, like the Wright brothers, when they said like we want to do something and want to fly, they were really, really contradicted by everyone. Everybody thought they are crazy, and their dad was a priest. He thought like, you're gonna rot in hell, because if God wanted us to fly, he would have us with wings. So circumstances was not convenient for them at all. They had all kind of struggle in their life, but they achieved it. And when they did it and they lasted there for a few seconds, they said like, oh, you see, it did not last except for a few seconds. Well, not only did we do it, we actually stayed there for a few seconds. So this is a shift, a total mind shift, a total shift mindset. You can have this mindset anywhere. It's not restricted to a country. It's not like, yeah, the environment around you is it has to be conducive, like it has to be supportive. I get that, but your inner talk has to be what takes you to the moon. And I'm talking about this now because if you are raising kids and you are always criticizing, shouting, and blaming them, well, you are growing in them what we call guilt. And people who have guilt inside them and grow with it, and this is one of the major blocks I work with my clients, honestly, it takes the most work, because it is connected to feeling unworthy. So if I feel all the time guilty, it means I am not a good person. I don't deserve it. So I'm like, unworthiness is block is connected to guilt. So unless I remove the guilt and process it, then I will stay where I am. So when you start to, and people who like, another thing for parents who are watching me today, do you practice like shaming gratitude with your kids? Like, for example, if they say they don't like anything or they don't want something specific, would you shame them? Like, say like, oh, how dare you be grateful? You have this and others do not have it. Are you shaming them? Because this is as well like a huge block for them when they grow up. They feel bad about themselves. They don't express themselves, right? They don't feel safe expressing themselves. That's why lots of teenagers shut themselves from their parents. It doesn't matter if you are abroad or not abroad. It doesn't matter if you live in your country or in a different country. Well, when you tell them, like, what would people say, you are telling them literally, like, what people think of you is way more important than what you think of yourself and how you see yourself. So this is blowing away their self-confidence. Okay, so they start to be like what we say, people pleasers. So I do what's going to make others love me, disregarding what I want. And by time, it does build resentment and anger towards the other person or the other people. And the other person doesn't have any idea what's going on with your kids inside or with you inside. You're building the resentment because you want to please everyone and you want to be liked by everyone. And this is what other think of you is what really matters the most. And then resentment builds up. And now science discovered that all serious and chronic illness is connected to a certain emotion, a negative emotion that you lived with for a long period of time. So it grew in your body. Your body was hosting it because of using these negative thoughts, and it can lead to cancer. It can lead to arthritis. It can lead to chronic disease, can lead to depression and anxiety, and whatever you can name it. Anything which is really serious has a connection emotionally to an emotion. So if you feel unworthy, so are you shaming your kids? Like gratitude, shaming gratitude. Are you using this? Are you criticizing them? Are you telling them what the people would say, what the neighbors would say? Are you comparing them? Are you making fun of their ideas? Even like I'm telling you, like the best people who achieved massive success started with a crazy idea. It's crazy. You think it's crazy, and not because nobody did it. How about if your son or daughter are the first people to do it? There is always the first time for everything, right? So another thing I find, like lots of parents say to their kids, I want you to be better than me. I don't want you to make my mistakes. Well, we are all gonna have at a certain level in our life as a form of suffering, because this is connected to the human experience. So if they are human, they are gonna experience some suffering. They are gonna make mistakes, 100%. Well, if you want them to avoid your mistakes, well, you still, like, I guess your parents were telling you, watch this, but you still had your mistakes, because you may have and your kids have a totally different curriculum to learn on this earth. So some people come to learn compassion, some people learn to come to learn more to be more empathic, some people learn to be more patient. Maybe your kid needs to be more patient. They need to learn. They will get their lessons, they will have the suffering, they will have it. Like, you cannot avoid it. You cannot, like, you want to protect your kids from everything. I don't want them to get hurt, I don't want them to get this. The more you do that, you delay their progress, because they will have to experience this in order to grow. Like, the good thing is that people who really, like, have what we call like dense pain bodies, it means they have lots of negative emotions feeding inside them, and they become depressed at a certain point in their life. This is was like the turning point where they hit bottom and they wanted to change. So, and people who hit this bottom rock, their change is like is definitely possible, because, and it's even faster. I'm not, because most people, like, they want something like really catastrophic to happen in their life and then they change. But why wait for that? You can choose change right now. You can say, I'm gonna break this pattern. It's not working for me. It never helped me with my kids. Like, it's not gonna serve them. And when you tell them, I want you to be better than me, you are internally saying, I am not good enough. I am not a success. I am a failure. I don't want you to be like me. That's what you are saying without verbalizing it. So they start to look for somebody outside. So you see, like, your language with them is very, very important. If you want to know that you are criticizing your kids or whatever it is, and you want to have better relationship with them, I highly recommend, guys, that you have 2 days in the week, weekdays, and one weekend. Write down, and it will take you, like, just like I'm asking you to work 3 days. And what you're gonna do is that you're gonna track your thoughts and what you tell your kids. What are you telling them? Are you, like, is this criticism, is this sarcasm, is this, like, is, like, start to be aware of it, because once you are aware of it, this is step number one, because you have now disentangled yourself from these patterns. And I do something fun with my clients, and I did it myself when I started working on myself, and my mentor recommended that for me. Like, I had a glass jar and it was fun, and I had written on it, no criticism, no blaming, no complaining. So whenever I catch myself blaming, complaining, or making criticizing somebody, I would stick in, like, there is a fine there. I would put $2 or $5, whatever it is, and this is not as a punishment, but as a reminder to be aware of your thoughts. Because if you're not aware of them, you'll keep on doing the same, right? And you're gonna have better relationship with the people who really matter to you, right, guys? So if you do this one, and then your kids, don't force it on them. If they are interested, they can join. Whoever is gonna be caught complaining, blaming, or making being sarcastic of somebody else, all you have to do, like, okay, we're gonna put a paper here with your name and a fine of $2, $10, 10 euros, whatever it is. Okay. At the end of the year, you can collect this money and you donate it to your own charity. And that would be a really good cause. And well, you had done two things. You have stopped blaming, complaining, minimize it to the least, and you have helped somebody else. You contributed to your own charity, the people you would love to support, whoever you are supporting, wherever you are. So it's never about ever where you are bringing up your kids. It's about what you are modeling for them. And you can tell them anything. You can, like, send them to schools wherever, but they don't listen to words. Kids do not listen to words, guys. I can't say how much is important. Kids listen to your actions. What you would love to see in them, you model it. It starts with you. Okay, so now we have broken down what are the three major blocks that keep you separate from your kids and breaks your relationship together. And I talked about some of the limiting beliefs, or like the patterns that you want. I want you to be better than me. Stop saying this, please, because you, well, why not? Why don't they want to be like you? Why don't you really be like this magnificent parent that they would love to be like you, instead of saying I don't want you to be not like me? Stop telling them as well, please, I don't want you to make my mistakes, because they are going to have their own mistakes. Maybe they need these mistakes to grow. Okay, you can tell them, but you leave them, you give them the choice to do what they feel is right for them. And then they are gonna fall, and when they fall, you don't make fun of them, you just listen to them, be present to them, if you want to build a good strong relationship with them. Well, I have as well, guys, like prepared a free guide for communication and for apologizing. If you want to have it, it can be a good start if you want to go through it. I got lots of positive feedback from it, and it's totally free. If you want, say guide, and we'll send it to you. And we have it as well in our reels. We added at the end, like you can just scan and download. And it's so simple. Okay. So I hope like you ease down on yourself, whoever is raising their kids in a different country, because they are not going to be exactly like you. They are brought in different circumstances, they are brought in a different environment, and they are not going to be the exact copy of their nephews, their nieces, wherever in a different country. They are going to be themselves, their different version. And you don't feel ashamed or shame them, because they are different. That's who they are, right? And on the contrary, you support them, you celebrate them, you are proud of them, because these kids are like, I see them, they become so independent, they become really strong. They have experienced in life what you yourself haven't experienced until you were in your 40s or 50s. So they start working early, they they take responsibility, right? And there is something that people underestimate, the power of prayer. When you pray for your kids and you pray like there's another force which is working bigger and huger than you and myself, which is gonna like guide them and help them and protect them. So your prayer is really, really important. People like minimize the importance of that. No, this is very, very important. So I would love to leave you with a high note and tell you that you are doing a great job. Stop being hard on yourself. Stop wanting to meet the expectation of everyone, because nobody is thinking. Honestly, nobody is thinking. 2% only think, 3% they think and they are not thinking, and 95 would rather die than think, because people prefer their comfort zone. They prefer what is less risky. They prefer to stay where they are. And you opted out of this. So don't like whatever think of you. It's honestly none of your business. All right. I hope this makes sense to you. I hope you like it. And keep on sending me your questions. Like every week I answer Q&A on a different topic according to the question I received from you. And I send you all love. Thank you so much for whoever was tuning live with me. And hashtag replay for catching on replay. And have an awesome day, and see you next week. Bye bye, everyone.